Good afternoon, class. I thought I'd give a brief week one lecture just to sort of give you an overview, a little bit more about English 1101 and as it relates to your Blackboard content. Because this class is strictly 100% online, hopefully those that logged in within the last couple of days realized by looking at their student that they got the handouts about how to go about finding stuff on Blackboard and using the student email and Microsoft Teams and that type of stuff. So I will sort of run through a little bit of that. I'm not going to necessarily spend a whole lot of time going over every single word or page of the syllabus. I understand everybody, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I know everybody knows how to read. They're here. So what I would suggest there about that, the syllabus is going to be up online as well as the checklist throughout the entire 4 months. If you have any questions, concerns, or issues, please email those concerns, issues, because otherwise I can't read mine. So if there's something in the syllabus that you don't understand, then please email me. We will look at some of the stuff, just hitting the high notes in the syllabus for the most part. So when you log into your Blackboard page, yours is going to look a little bit different. I mean, it's going to show the classes that you're taking. On my end, it's going to show the classes that I'm teaching. So you want to find your English 1101 because that's basically where I'm going to sort of start. I'm going to click there. It's going to take you to the home page. Home page is good to some degree because if there's anything new that I uploaded, it's going to show you where it's at. And kind of if you click there, it's going to take you there. It has a couple of different messages, it may have for you to kind of look at. Needs attention is basically going to be for me when there's something needed that needs to be graded. Looks like there's already somebody that's worked here that I need to go back and kind of look to see what they're doing. And where it says alerts, past due, that type stuff, it's going to alert you pretty much probably about every Monday or so. You're going to get a Blackboard alert, and it's basically going to alert you for a couple of things. It's going to alert you for how long or how many times have you logged in during the week, how many times have you checked student email possibly. But really what I'm looking at is overall, what is your grade? So it will start sending out alerts if your grade is 69 or lower. It will start sending out alerts if you do not use the Dropbox or the scheduled assignment folder on Blackboard. If you try to email, like if you email me your assignment because of something going on with the computer and I grade it, it's still going to flag you because you didn't use the Blackboard system's Dropbox. So just sort of keep that in mind. Keep in mind of deadlines and due dates. We will look at the checklist here momentarily. If you get 3 zeros in this class, it's like getting 20 points taken off for each one of your zeros. So you can kind of do the math. 3 zeros is basically 60 points. 100 from 60 is basically out of 40. It's going to be hard to come back from a 40 depending on when you get the 40 in the class, because I've done the math. You need to at least have 15 100s just to pull that 40 up to a 70. The deal with this class, we don't have 15 assignments to be able to do that. I will say if you get 5 zeros, you're basically at a 0 in the class. And there's probably no way you're going to be able to pull that up no matter how many 100s you make from here on out. So please be mindful of that. Complete work on time. Even turning something in that may not give you a very good grade, say a 35 is better than a 0. So please submit something. Late work, I really don't have time to be hunting you down. That's why I give you deadlines in advance. You know when stuff is due. We're adults here. This isn't a college level course. That's how it's going to be run. If you don't turn something in, if you don't submit on time, just know that your grade is going to be a 0 come that Monday, and you will start getting alerts. So please keep up with the syllabus and the work that's due. So talking about the syllabus, click here. This is going to be where your syllabus is going to be at. You're going to find your tentative schedule. You're going to find my email, my office in Camden County, the number to that, my tutoring hours, and my office hours. So let me click here to see. We will kind of go over this a little bit. Again, I'm not going to read everything word for word, but this is my email. Capitalize the P, capitalize the W, wilson@coastalponds.edu is how you can get in touch with me. This is my office number. Keep in mind, I do have 4 other classes, 2 in-person classes and 3 online classes. I live in Brunswick, but work in Camden. So if it's at the end of the day after 6, I'm traveling home. If it's before 7:30 or so, I'm traveling to work. I do have in-person classes Monday through Thursday. So if you try to call the office and you can't reach me, just leave a name and a number. Honestly, I would say because I'm here 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday, the easiest, the quickest way to probably reach me would be email. I usually return emails within a 24-hour period, if not sooner. If it's during my time off, which most instructors have Friday through Sunday off, you may have it up to a 48-hour waiting period. I don't live behind the computer when, I'm trying to enjoy it with my 2 daughters and wife, but I do check on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If there's a holiday or something of that nature, it might be a little bit of a delay too. But anything, between 7:30 and 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, you would generally get an answer back. I hope by the end of that day, if not by the beginning of the next. Tutoring hours, if you plan or if you live in Camden County and would like to come into in-person tutoring hours, just let me know what day you're going to be coming. My tutoring hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We can meet in one of my English classrooms. We can meet downstairs in the library, whatever is easiest for you. Just let me know that you're coming so I can plan ahead of time. Office hours, again, just sort of let me know if you're coming. Monday and Wednesdays, 8 to 9 in the morning, and then 3:15 to 4:15 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. As you can tell, we have the course description, some of the learning outcomes. Again, I'm not going to read every single thing here. I know that you know how to read. Definitely you want to click on the acceptable computer and internet usage policy if you haven't. Read through those 2 pages and understand that when you use the Coastal Pines Wi-Fi account, no matter where you're at, you're being sort of watched. So be careful about using it for various things. Don't be looking up websites that grandma would be embarrassed if you pulled it up in church. Don't be, using it to buy various things off Amazon, that type of stuff. Whatever you do on your own account in your own time is your business. But when you start logging into Coastal Pines account, whether you're in your Hazelhurst, Brunswick, Baxley, Kingsland, Waycross, whatever the campus, you're using their stuff, and they can track you by your username, your password, your student ID, Social Security, that type of stuff. So just be smart about it. Materials for this course, because it's strictly 100% online, really what you probably would need is maybe some folders to sort of keep your rough drafts and your drafts and your final drafts. Pens and paper, that's up to you whether you want to take the notes. Obviously, most of y'all went through K through 12, graduated high school. You might have taken another college course or courses somewhere else. You know how to take notes, I hope. So you might want to take notes for the course if you feel like you need to. You definitely need a flash drive or a thumb drive to save your essays. Because again, while I sympathize with you if you lose your work, if lightning hits your house and you don't save that 10-page research paper and it's due in 24 hours, well, you had nearly 8 weeks to get that one done and you didn't save it, so that's really not my fault. So please save your work multiple times. Send it as an attachment to multiple email addresses. So in case you do lose your thumb drive, or if it gets wet or whatever the case may be, you lose it, somebody steals it, at least you can go to another email account and pull up some rough draft of that particular paper. So you're not having to come back from, start from scratch. Otherwise, you're just going to have to start from scratch and hope for the best. Because again, deadlines are there for a reason. Deadlines are there for me. Deadlines are there for you. And for the most part, if I change a deadline, it's going to move something back for the benefit of me and you, since I have 4 other classes that have essays coming at me pretty much around the same time. I won't probably add anything new to the schedule, but at the same time, I'm probably not going to take anything away from it. So everything that's on the schedule, we're going to cover, we're going to do within the 3.5, 4 month period. But deadlines are, for the most part, as we look at our checklist, they're going to be set for Sundays. You can turn stuff in earlier if need be, if you think that's going to be a problem, especially if you're dual enrollment and you're part of a football or a basketball team or something of that nature, cheerleader. You signed up for this online course for the convenience of it being online, so I can't really move deadlines around because of your social life. So if you have stuff to do on a Thursday, or you got stuff that's got to be done Saturday or Sunday, and you don't want to worry about schoolwork, then get it in before Saturday and Sunday is all I got to say. But if you get really bad sick with COVID or something of that nature and you're hospitalized, and obviously we can work around some stuff. But if you're COVID and at home and you have internet access, then I still expect that you get the work in. Because you're not coming in, you're not interacting with people. And if you're not really to the point where you're having to be hospitalized, even though, yes, it's going to suck because I had COVID back in January. I know how draining and exhausting it can be, especially if you're having to work and grade and all that stuff. I was still able to do it when I had 103 and 104 degree temperature. So it can be done. You may just have to take a little bit more extra time to get it done. But you're still responsible for whatever work you miss, deadline-wise and reading-wise, if you get really bad sick with COVID, the flu, whatever the case may be. All right. So moving along, this is another place where you can find your textbook. If you wanted to click on the hyperlink, you can go that way, but I'll show you another way you can get it on Blackboard. If you have any disabilities, you need to contact Katie here. This is her email information and her phone number. You need to bring your documentation from your doctor. This is the grading scale. It's on a 10-point increment. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B. If it's 0.5 or higher, when it gets to the end, I will round it up to the nearest whole number. If it's 0.4 or lower, you round down to the nearest whole number. As it relates to the ADA qualifications and stuff, because we don't really do a lot of quizzes, mostly you're going to have enough time if you plan wisely. The key thing with online courses is organization and time management. If you procrastinate and don't really have time management under control or organization under control, this class is going to be sort of a disaster for you because you're just juggling too much and you don't have a personalized schedule that fits into your routine. We go on a 3-week cycle. And what I mean by that is every first week of the beginning of that 3-week cycle, you're getting information about the rhetorical mode of writing that we're talking about, what you're going to be writing, reading, and studying. In this case, week 1 is going to be all about narration. We're briefly going to look at the narrative topic that I provided. So for this week, you really need to think about which one of those 4 topics you want to choose and start brainstorming. Week 2, again, narration continues off of that essay 1 topic that you should have chosen already. Now you need to go ahead and write and type your rough drafts for that particular essay topic, because we're going to have a peer review that's going to be due that following Sunday. The 3rd week of the cycle is the final draft week. So after you get your peer reviews back from not only your classmates, If you send drafts to Smart Thinking and me, you want to fix whatever we ask you to fix, so you can turn it in that following Sunday to get a final grade. Week 4, we start a new unit, which in this case would be description, and then we sort of repeat the whole process over again. So in a lot of ways, you have like a 3-week writing process to get a good bit of your work done. 3 weeks, about 21 days. Generally, there's going to be something due starting this week every Sunday. So I'm just throwing that out there to let you know. There's really going to be no surprises on when something's due. Every Sunday before 11:59 p.m., something is due. Check Blackboard, check your schedule, check your checklist, know something is due. The only time something isn't due would be Thanksgiving week, I believe, and maybe the week after that, because you're sort of involved with your research paper. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here momentarily. But realize, you know, for the most part, well, I would say 3 weeks out of the 16 weeks session that we have, you know, what's that? 12, 13 weeks, there's going to be something due. Here's the weight. You're going to have MSA, which is major stake assignments. That's collectively, it's worth 70%. So that's like your essay 1, 2, 3, research paper, you know, midterm, final exam, that type of stuff. Low stakes assignments, LSA, more or less like your discussions or your quizzes, that type deal. Peer reviews are 20%. Check the footnotes because I really go into more detail. I break it up by assignment, how much is worth, each thing is sort of worth. So just keep that in mind. Information about plagiarism. Usually I don't have this problem until it becomes after midterm, like the month of November, when we have to start doing the research paper. You got 2 strikes and you're out with plagiarism or cheating of any kind. First offense, you get a 0 on the assignment. If you remember what I said earlier about zeros, 1 0 is going to kill your grade by 20 points. So if you got an 80 when you get that 0, which hopefully you don't, but if you do, now you're at a 60. You get 1 more 0, you're probably going to fail the class. That's just how, I mean, it's hard to come up when your grade is already at a 40. If you're foolish enough and didn't learn from the first time you cheated or plagiarized, well, the second offense, you're going to fail the class no matter what your grade is. And then you're going to go before a board of the vice president, president, a couple other folks, and they're going to determine whether they suspend you just for 1 semester, 2 semesters, 1 year, or they just bar you from this college overall. And then they look at your other classes too to see if you might be cheating in there. So it's not really a smart way to go. It stays on your transcript, so there's no way around it. So if you try to go out of state to a college, private college, if you try to go out of the country to a college, it's still going to be there. Sort of like your social security number. It stays with you to the day you die. So when in doubt, don't cheat. Ask if you're having a hard time with documentation. If you're wanting to quote something and you don't know how to do it, you need to ask, because otherwise you will get caught, because everything that you submit paper-wise goes through either Safe Design or Turnitin, which is a plagiarism checker that checks live. You see it, I see it, and anybody else that wants to get on will see where you're getting the information. And it's pretty much 99.9% accurate. If you cheat in my class, and I had folks that did cheat in my class, it will catch you pretty much, within the first 3 minutes after you submit the paper. And then when you go to check your grade and you see a 0, and I'm going to put C note, plagiarized paper, then you know. And I can show you where you're getting your stuff from just like that. You can see it pretty much just like I can. So you can, try to argue I didn't do it and that. Well, doesn't matter. If the program catches you, you got your 0. If you do it 2 times, you got enough in the class. Please don't do it. Some information about Proctoru. Again, you might want to start reading that as it gets closer to December. That's when your final exam is going to be. We will talk a little bit more about what you need to do for Proctoru. But you will need a Proctoru account, username, password, a working, obviously a working computer with working Microsoft Word, a working web mic and webcam, because you will be recorded for the 60 minutes that you take that exam. And you need a student ID, and they need to take a picture of you holding your student ID up to your face, basically. So somebody's going to be watching you for those 60 minutes that you do that exam. And that's for every online class that you take. You're going to have to do a Proctoru event. Most of us usually save it for the final exam. Some folks do it earlier. Some people do it around midterm. Some folks, maybe that is your first assignment, just to knock it out. But for us, it's probably going to be around final exam period. There's a possibility it could be midterm, but I'll let you know. I'm kind of leaning more toward the last 2 days of our semester, really. If you look, this is pretty much our outline for the month of August, September, October, November, and the little week and a half of December. So again, the page numbers go with your textbook. Anything that doesn't have page numbers, you want to look in your Blackboard weekly folder under lessons, which, as you can tell here, week 1 is open. This is pretty much, I give you an overview. Again, page numbers go to your e-text, which you can find here. Click on the course textbook and it will link you to that course textbook. Once you finish reading the textbook pages, review if you need to for better understanding. These videos are educational videos that go along with the reading. They are helpful. Some are long, some are not as long. But again, if you don't understand the reading, I would look at the videos. If you still sort of having a hard time understanding the reading and the videos, then that's when you want to sort of start, using online tutoring, which is right here, Smart Thinking, or you want to start scheduling an appointment to either meet me via Teams, like how this thing is recorded for a tutoring session, or you might want to come into in-person tutoring to get help. So this is Smart Thinking. This will be helpful when it comes to writing rough drafts and final drafts. You just follow this information. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week online tutoring and support. They will review your papers, check your information, that type of stuff. So utilize it. It's free. You can use them multiple times. You can send me drafts after you fix what they say, or vice versa. If you're taking a math course, basically if you're taking any course that we offer at this college, chances are you can find a tutor here that will help you with that course. So utilize it because, like I said, it's free. You might as well. Let's see, going back, looking at our lesson page. Every Wednesday night at midnight, so basically Thursday morning, if you click on into your Blackboard, log into your Blackboard account, you're going to see that the next week is going to be open. So basically Thursday morning, let's say if you look at Blackboard at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see week 1 and week 2 open. That is, the reason why I do that is because it gives you about a week and a half that you can go ahead and get kind of started with the next week's stuff if you feel confident in doing so. Keep in mind, week 2 officially doesn't really start until Sunday midnight. So it'll basically be the 29th, because most people are probably going to get up on that Monday and start. So between now and then, I may be adding a few things that I haven't had a chance to add to week 2 yet. So you definitely want to come back and check not only your email, but also your weekly folder for that week, so you're not missing anything that you would need before that Sunday deadline. So check often. The other thing is, every Sunday at midnight, the week that we're in, that folder will be no longer available. It will disappear to give room for the next week's folder. So if there's anything in here that you need to copy, download, or save, you have a 7-day period to do so. And I would definitely say do it, because once it goes away, I can't necessarily promise you I can go back and retrieve the stuff that was once there. like assignment and just, topic and assignment directions. You might want to, download this and either save it to your computer, or you want to print it and put it in a folder, right? A good folder might be useful to have in this class. The other thing is, if we don't have page numbers, or if I don't have page numbers, listed, like with the AXI Indian education piece, I don't have page numbers because it's not in your e-text. It's here online as a handout. You click on it, it takes you to that link. You read through this. You don't have to necessarily worry about the exercises, but you want to read through this because this is a professional piece of what a narrative essay should be like. So I really give you two Model A examples. I give you a professional piece, what's been published, and this particular author, Sherman Axley, has made money from. And then I give you one, if you look in your e-text for the reading this week, there's a student model that's also of A quality. So you have two really good examples that will be considered 90 or above. So if you follow those examples with your particular topic you're choosing, you type it out in MLA 9 format, and you start sending drafts over the next 3 weeks. You shouldn't have any issues. So when we go, this week's assignment is in 125 words. Answer the following question based on this week's reading. This week's reading being right here, the Alexi piece. How does Alexi's short story show a different side to being American and the American dream? So you have to answer that question. 125 words is about half a page. It's a really a decent sized paragraph, but it's half a page if you're typing. Some folks will come up and say, well, are you really worrying about the word count? Well, sort of I am, because you can't answer that particular question in just 12 words. At the same time, I don't want you to answer that question in 700 words. When I say 125 words, I really mean 125 words, no more nor less. Now, what if you get 82 words? Are you going to take off? Well, that depends. If it answers the question to the best of your ability, and I can see that you did read the actual piece and you do answer the parts of the question, and you don't have a lot of fluff and a lot of grammatical errors and spelling errors, then you may probably get full credit. But if you give me something that's at 145 words, and you just give me a bunch of crap and fluff, and obviously you only read the first page of the piece, then yeah, you're going to get some points taken off just because you gave me 145 words of nothing, basically. So make sure you follow instructions. Make sure you spell check and grammar check your work, because I don't want to have this is an English class. I don't want somebody to come up in here with, write a whole bunch of paragraphs and don't know how to use commas. You can, Google, you can look at the grammar section in your book. You can YouTube how to use commas, whatever the case may be. I don't need one paragraph. That's one long run-on sentence. We learned how to correct run-on sentences in 2nd grade, some of us earlier, so just kind of keep that in mind. This is stuff that it's not new. And after you read the piece and want to answer this question, you want to go ahead and click on that. As you can tell, there's already been a couple people that's answered. For you to be able to answer, you're going to have to go up here and create a thread. You're going to have to give it a title of some sort. It can be something short if you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be long. And what I would suggest is that you use a updated version of Microsoft Word. So you can use the spell check and the grammar check. And if you go to your file and go to options and go to proofing, you're going to see where it says when correcting spelling and grammar in Word, make sure all those boxes are checked. Look at your writing style, make sure it's grammar and refinements, not just grammar. Click on the settings and make sure all of those boxes are checked as well. Hit OK, and then recheck the document, because what you can do is, if you have a free spell check and grammar check in your Microsoft Word, you should be using it, because if you're coming up with a bunch of grammar errors, surface errors that you can catch by a grammar checker or a spell checker, then you should be able to catch them. And then after you correct those errors, you copy and paste that paragraph, like I will do here just for an example, and you put it back in here. Keep the format as it is. You know, it may click on some other stuff that you have to change. Like here it's asking me to do this. So you're going to do a little bit of this, spice it up, and then you just hit submit. And then it'll be there waiting for me to grade. Now I know Angela, I think you emailed me earlier and you wanted to know that you did this correctly. And right now what I see, it looks like you did. I mean, I'd have to go back and really reread, but let's see. If I really wanted to check your word count, I can just copy what you got. And then I can go to Microsoft Word. I can open up a fresh document. And I can paste what you have. And I can look at the word count down here. It's 170 words. So you're a little over, but I'd double check to see what's going on. Hopefully it's not, you know, you don't have a lot of fluff. You're basically hitting, if you're getting to the point, concise and clear to the point, that's what I'm looking for. If it's over a little bit, you know, depending on what you're trying to explain or give as your answer, depends on whether I take some points off or not. Generally, if it's clear, concise, it answers the question, and you're not going on like novel length, you should be okay. Where I have issues is when somebody wants to just, when I say 125 words and somebody only gives me 27 words. That's telling me a couple things. It's telling me you probably rushed, you waited until Sunday 2 hours before it was due, and you really didn't read the particular piece in question. You try to go to Wikipedia or Spark Notes or someplace online, TikTok, to see if you can find a summary that somebody's written that's really piss poor. It's really easy to tell when things are rushed, when you wait till the last minute or you just don't have a clue. Because I can tell in your writing, I can tell by some of the mistakes that you make in your writing that, you know, you should be able to spell simple words at this level. So it's really easy to tell when you're just sort of fluffing and trying to skate through. I don't think anybody wants to have to retake this class in the spring or the summer. If you're dual enrollment, you may need it to graduate. If you're not dual enrollment in traditional, you probably need it to still graduate because you have to have this class to be able to move on to some other class that this is a prerequisite. This class is really not all that difficult. If you have time management, organization skills, you ask for help when you need help, you send drafts to me in Smart Thinking. I usually set all my classes at a medium level. That way it's not too easy and it's not too hard. It's easy if you come prepared and you know what you're doing and you get the help timely, you send stuff in timely, you keep up the reading, you keep up the assignments. It becomes difficult when you just decide that you want to sort of do it your way because you think that this is what you did in 9th and 10th and 11th grade or whatever and was able to skate through and still get good grades. College English is a lot different than K through 12th grade English as it relates to the effort. I don't throw out A's, you have to earn A's. I'm an easy B, you can say, but I'm a hard A. Gonna have to earn to get the A. B's and C's are generally, I mean, anybody can, for the most part, make a C. B's, you may have to try a little bit harder to get that. Again, I'm not just gonna hand out B's because you're turning everything in. I'm reading the work. If it's good quality, you get what you, I mean, you deserve what you earn and you earn what you deserve. It's very easy to get D's and F's in any class. Just don't show up, don't do anything. So that's where the difficulty is going to be. If you just decide you don't want to do anything, you don't want to turn it in, you want to go your own way, you want to go rogue, then obviously, yes, if you wait until 2 hours before something is due and you had 21 days to do it in, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be stressful, and it's going to play real dire issues to your overall health. Immunity is going to get low, you're going to get sick because if you got 3 or 4 other classes, you're not keeping up with them, you got work, you got family, you got other things outside of class, then everything's going to start crushing and compounding down on you. And you're going to know this by the time we get 8 weeks in, which is our midterm. So if you don't really have a plan in mind as it relates to weekly how to set stuff up, I will definitely say you need a personalized schedule for this class, meaning you need to be working on a little bit each day. So as it gets closer to that 21 day when you have to turn in that final draft of that paper, you're not scrambling to get stuff done. You've already been sending drafts and getting the help. Now, the drafts are optional. You don't have to send a draft. I will say this, those that do send drafts generally get the higher grade on the assignment and the higher grade in the class. I would suggest that you send drafts not only to me in Smart Thinking, but also when we do the peer review, that you partake and do the peer review. And I will explain the whole deal about the peer review next week, because that's going to be next week's assignment, really. But you're going to have the opportunity to have at least 3 people look at your paper. Take advantage of that. If you know anybody outside of this particular class, friends, family that's really good at writing papers, let them look at it. The more sets of eyes that look at your work, the better the grade, the better the paper should be. Going back to the lessons, well, let me go back to the syllabus real quick, because if you look at the checklist, let's look at that. This is probably going to be really one of your best friends as it relates to what is due this week, because you always get that. What's due? So this is going to be up until December as well. Again, you can either print it out, keep it in a folder, but I give you the week, I give you the page numbers that you need to do as it relates to reading, or if it doesn't have pages, you need to look in the Blackboard folder for it, which I tell you here, and then I tell you when it's due, what's due. So it looks like every Sunday from here on out, there's going to be something due, except, like I said, for the week of Thanksgiving and week 15, you don't really have anything due. The final exam week is really only going to be 2 days, and we'll talk a little bit about what date that will be as it gets closer. So this is a good thing to keep in mind. It tells you the reading and the assignment due dates. You know when things are due. Everybody in this class, there's like 28 of you now, know when things are due. And you know this from day 2 of the semester, which is the 23rd of August. So you can't come up, send me an email and say, well, I didn't know when essay 4 was due. Yes, you did. Because it's not only listed in Blackboard, it's also listed in your syllabus, which is also on Blackboard. So try again with that excuse, right? You can't come up and say, well, I didn't know when something is due. Yes, you did. It's been up there. This stuff has actually been up there weeks before the semester started, really. So going back to the week 1 section, let me download these topics, because this is really going to be, again, the first essay that you're going to start, which is narration or a narrative. Narration/narrative is basically what it says. If you really look at it, it's telling a story. Most good stories have a beginning, middle, and end. Think of your favorite movie. Think of your favorite novel, novella, short story, song. There's a beginning, a middle, and end to song and poetry. Episodic TV. If it has a beginning, middle, and end, and it has some sense of characters, plots, themes, think of that little arch angle, maybe back from high school when you have the beginning, you have the rising action, you get to your highest point, which is the climax. Then you start the resolution and falling action. That's what a good narrative has. That's why I gave you those 2, the one that's online, the Indian Education, and the one in your book. Read both of those to sort of get a better indication again about that. So here's the guidelines. It needs to be an MLA 9 double-space format. I'll show you how to go about doing that here momentarily, and plus I'm going to be sending out some information about that format after this video is over with. Times New Roman, size 12 font. It needs to either be 2 pages or 500 words, whatever comes first. And it's due by 11:59. There's going to be a Dropbox when it gets closer to week 3 on September 11th, which is a Sunday. Again, once that Dropbox is available, if you feel confident where you're at with this particular essay, you can submit way before September 11th if you want. You don't have to wait until the day of this thing is due. So you have 4 topics. You choose one, you write your narrative. Have you ever been scammed? How did it happen? What was your first day in college like? Did it live up to your expectation? Now, with the word college, you can interchange that noun with another noun. You can talk about your first day at work. You can talk about your first day of pre-K. You can talk about, your first grade to the sixth grade. You can talk about middle school, high school, elementary school. You can replace the word college with anything that you had on the first day of, whatever that is, whether it's a job or another particular grade out of school. Number 3, the negative effects of digital life. Think about Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, if that's still around, Twitter, various blogs, YouTube. It's digital. That's where we're pretty much been the last 20 years. Are there negative effects to that? And then the last one, things that irate you about your family. So the beauty about narration is, even though it is a story, it does have a beginning, middle, and end. It could be a story that is educational. You can inform us of something. You can persuade us on something. You can make us laugh. You can make us cry. It can be fictionalized. It can be non-fictionalized, meaning you can give me as much truth and facts about you as you want, or you can make something up that's totally BS, as long as it fits the mold of what a narrative needs to be rhetorically. That's what I'm looking for. It's 2 pages. It follows MLA format, has beginning, middle, and end. There is a story taking place. I'm not going to fact check you. Where the facts and everything start to become more of an importance is as we get closer to the beginning of November, when we talk about that 6 to 8 page research paper. Then you're going to use, 6, 7 scholarly sources. Things have to be sort of more in check. But here you got a little bit of creativity, I guess. All right, so you want to learn how to do the MLA format. There's a couple ways. Let me first show you that if you do not have Microsoft Word on your desktop, if you click on your Microsoft Office email and pull that up and go through the setup here. Now, again, you are going to receive emails from me through Microsoft Office 365. You can email me, but you're definitely going to receive emails here, because you're never going to be able to get anything coming back to you on Blackboard. So just keep that in mind. If you go up here, there's a couple ways. There's this icon for Microsoft Word here, the app, or you can go up to this little square, these little dots, click on there, and you're going to find the Word app there. You basically click there, and it's going to give you a list, right? You can create a new document. You can look at some of the templates, which we're going to get to here in a minute. They give you that template of MLA style paper. It's right here. Just click on that. I'm going to show you my version of that through my desktop version. So let's say that you're opening up a document. You want a new document in Microsoft Word. It goes here. It says new. Search for online templates. Just put MLA. It's going to give you 3 sections. It's going to give you an MLA style research paper, just an MLA style paper, and then whatever this is. The first 2 will work. So I'm just going to click the research paper. Doesn't matter. It's still an MLA. Where it says your name, you're going to put your name. So in this case, I'm going to put just a makeup name, Jeff Smith. I'm going to put my name because that's where it says instructor name. So I'm going to put that here. Course number. You're going to abbreviate ENGL, capitalize as English, and then you're going to put 1101. And then you're going to put the date is going to be the date that the paper is actually due for a final grade. So in your case, it'll be 9/11/22. You want to go up here where it says last name and clear out the last name, leave the page number. Your last name needs to go there. And you can either hit the X or you can double click below the line. And then if you scroll through, as you can tell, Smith 2, the page number changes as you go from one page to the next. If you read some of this stuff below, it kind of tells you a little bit more in-depth detail what MLA is. Even though this is the 7th edition they're talking about, they're a little bit behind times because we're basically in the 9th edition now, but this still gives you some brief information. So what you'd want to do is, because you're not using this as your particular essay, you're just wanting to use the format, you highlight everything and you delete. And I'm going to show you that because here in a minute, when I scroll down, and make sure that you tab every time, tab once, when you start a new paragraph, because I'm going to show you with a bunch of X's, what is it doing? Because you deleted what was originally there. As you can tell, it's staying in its format, which is the MLA 9 format that we need. So everything is double spaced still. If you highlight anything, it tells you that it's in Times New Roman 12, so everything is correct. Title and subtitle. You don't necessarily need a subtitle for everything unless you just want it, but you do need a title. And a title isn't leaving it blank like this. This doesn't tell me anything. You don't go to a movie to go to an untitled movie. You don't want to call it paper one. Why? Well, everybody's doing paper one. Doesn't tell me anything. You don't want to call it narrative or narration one or narrative. Why? Well, because everybody's doing that. Doesn't tell me anything. You don't want to call it essay one. Why? Well, again, just like paper one, everybody's doing one. It doesn't tell me anything. So think about titles, movie titles, you know, any kind of title. American Dad is a title. Simpsons is a title. MTV Clubs is a title. It doesn't have to be a complete thought. What you could do here is like the first day of school, or first day of college. That can be your title because hopefully what comes after that in the next, 500 words or whatever is going to reflect on your topic. So it has to do something that reflects on the topic. Otherwise, I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to be doing for your essays. This is the format you're going to use. You're going to have basically a 21-day period to get brainstorming, pick a topic, rough draft, final draft. If you work a little bit each day, like I said, then you should be able to get this stuff done, I hope, way before day 21 of each part of the 3-week cycle. If you procrastinate and you wait to the last minute, I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to be making your A in this class. You may make a B, depending on how well you procrastinate, but if you, dawdle around and waste your time and try to turn stuff in last minute, it's going to be hard to maintain a 90 or higher for very long. Some people kind of do it early on, but once we hit the research aspect of the course and they realize something, having to go out and go to the library and use Galileo and get all these sources, it's more work, and they just don't want to put in the effort or the time. Their 90 becomes an 80 one week. The next week, their 80 becomes a 74 one week. And then that 74 becomes a 62. And then before you know it, it's December 13th and you got a 58. We will see you again in the spring, basically, or the summer, whenever you plan on taking it before you graduate. Hopefully that won't be the case. Generally, the people that don't do so well in this class and have to retake it again before they graduate are these people. One, they don't show up the first week. And I'm going to pull this up for that example. When I go to the full graded section, right now there's a couple things I need to grade. Nothing's been graded yet. I will get to that between now and Sunday or now on Monday. Notice there's like 2 people. There's 1, 2 that haven't signed in or haven't logged in yet. Now, here's the deal about that. The college has a policy. Well, within the first 3 days, you kind of need to check in with your instructor and let them know who you are. But within the first 5 days to 7 days, really the first week, there's going to be an assignment that's due. In this case, you have that discussion dealing with Indian education. It's due on the 28th, which is this Sunday by 11:59. You get that in, great, no problems. Problem is when I come and look on the 29th, which is a Monday, when I get back into the office after 7:30, and I'm going to look, and when I don't see anybody that, whoever doesn't turn in that first assignment, even though they might have logged in, they still didn't turn in the graded assignment. Guess what? you're counted as a no-show and you're going to be dropped that Monday from the course. So if you don't log in and turn in that first assignment, Monday, the 29th, you will be dropped from the course. So make sure that you're doing more than just logging in, because logging in at this point no longer counts as you being present. What's going to count for you to be present for the week is every Sunday you turn something in. If you don't turn something in every Sunday, you're considered absent. Again, that goes with, adding zeros. The first week is really detrimental, because if you don't turn anything in, not only are you getting a zero, you're basically going to be dropped Monday the 29th. And that goes for any class that you're taking online. If you don't show up, log in, and submit whatever that first assignment is, 8 o'clock in the morning on the 29th, you're dropped. And I mean, you can try to get reinstated back in, but it may cost a little, some more money at this point, because it's past that drop add period. So please don't miss turning stuff in. I got a couple people in my in-person class that missed the first day, which was today, Tuesday, for them. If they don't come in on Thursday, they're getting dropped after class. They're going to be dropped by 3 o'clock that afternoon. And you're probably not going to get refunded for your money or anything like that, because you just failed to show up. So please don't do that. Don't get yourself in that position, because if you're still going to have to come to college to get whatever degree or diploma you're going to get, you're still going to have to take this class again, whether you go here or somewhere else. And since you never came to class the first time, you're not going to get refunded from your money, because you just didn't show up. You got dropped. All right. So that's enough for me now. Again, email me if you have any questions, any issues. I will probably have something a little bit more next week, obviously, as it relates to your peer review. I will start looking at some of these discussion posts that are coming in. And if there's any, big issues with that, because really the first week is sort of that trial and error week to make sure everybody's sort of on cue and doing what they need to do, I will try to email you back in a timely manner to say, hey, you might want to look back at this to see if you can make it a little bit better. I can't always do that for everybody, because I know I'm going to have some folks that are going to wait until 11:30 Sunday night to turn this in. So if you got something screwed up at 11:30 on a Sunday night, then you're just going to have to deal with that, because you didn't turn it in 6 days before. All right. So I hope everybody has a great rest of Tuesday and the rest of the week 1. And I will see everybody for a week 2. Have a good day.